The arrest of a truck driver after a deadly wreck in Shelby County got us wondering just who's behind the wheel of trucks on our interstates.
They say he's lucky to be alive. Coming up, hear from neighbors who saw a truck driver crash in a central Kentucky neighborhood.
Disappointing news for two southern Kentucky high schools. Find out why they won't be getting new football fields.
Tracking, alerting, protecting. This is WKYT News at 5:30.
Good evening. A truck driver from Washington now faces criminal charges here in Kentucky. Miroslav Kuzmanovic is charged with reckless homicide, 4 counts of wanton endangerment, and a communication device violation. State police say he was involved in a deadly crash on Interstate 64 in Shelby County yesterday.
This comes less than a week after another out-of-state truck driver charged with driving drunk wrecked in Laurel County. WKYT's Kristen Kennedy explores a rise in wrecks involving out-of-state truckers. She has our top story at 5:30.
Miroslav Kuzmanovic is the second out-of-state truck driver in a week involved in a serious wreck. And that got us wondering just who's behind the big rigs driving down Kentucky interstates. The Commonwealth is home to major interstates like 75 and 64. And in the last week, 2 wrecks by 2 different semi-truck drivers on those interstates have led to serious backups, even one fatality.
Anytime you're dealing with truck drivers from other states, it's more of a federal law because they cross state lines. So we would have to honor whatever system they're licensed out of.
We pulled crash numbers for the last 5 years available. In 2009, a quarter of truck drivers with known residences were from out of state. By 2013, that number had climbed to 46%.
There's more trucks on the road than there were in the past. It's cheaper for companies to move freight by truck than it would be by air or even by train. So you're starting to see a little bit more of an increase in trucks than what you would normally see.
Driver Miroslav Kuzmanovic from Washington is charged with reckless homicide after Wednesday's deadly wreck in Shelby County. Last week, state police in Laurel County say James Buell was driving drunk when he crashed his UPS truck. Commercial vehicle enforcement officers tell us they don't have to have a reason to pull a truck driver over. They often conduct random safety checks. In Lexington, Kristen Kennedy, WKYT.
Commercial vehicle enforcement officers say that random safety stops can take anywhere from 30 minutes to an hour to complete. On WKYT.com, we have an interactive chart where you can get a more in-depth look at the semi-truck crash data in the state of Kentucky. Well, the cleanup continues tonight after a semi-crash in central Kentucky. The crash happened about midnight just north of Lawrenceburg. Police say that a semi ran off the road and hit a tree, knocking the engine right out of the truck. Police say that metal shot forward when he hit the tree and came out of the trailer and into the back of the cab and also spread across the yard. Neighbors ran to help the truck driver who was pinned in that cab.
This truck don't look like a truck when he got through. He hit it so hard, knocked the motor out of the truck.
We could hear him moaning in there, and we got to hollering at him, and he got to answer his back because you barely could see him.
State police have not released the name of that driver, so we do not know his condition, but neighbors say he was talking to paramedics when he was taken to the hospital.
A man who pleaded guilty in the death of an eastern Kentucky woman has learned how long he'll spend in prison. Our county-by-county coverage at 5:30 begins in Knott County. A judge sentenced Gary Ward to 10 years in prison for the death of Christina Barnett. Investigators say Ward killed her, then dumped her body along Highway 80 in Johnson County in September of 2013. In April, Ward pleaded guilty to second-degree manslaughter, tampering with physical evidence, and abuse of a corpse.
There are no words to describe the impact her death has had on myself and my family. My heart's broken, my soul is shattered.
After the sentencing, Barnett's family held a balloon release near the area where her body was found. In Morgan County, state police are investigating a shooting. It happened last night on Perry Road, north of West Liberty. State police say 21-year-old Sam Sparks was shot. He was flown to UK Hospital where he's in critical condition. So far, no arrests have been made. In Laurel County, a man deputies say had been missing for nearly a month is home safe tonight. Deputies say someone found 69-year-old Earl Turley in Washington State. Turley had been missing since April 15th, but his wife didn't report it until this week. She says he suffers from bipolar disorder and he has taken off in the past, but always turns up within a week or two.
A new pilot program is bringing body cameras to 100 officers in Louisville, but the new addition is causing some controversy in parts of the city. Louisville police plan to install body cameras on patrol officers in predominantly white neighborhoods first. But those who petitioned the mayor to bring the cameras to Louisville say the cameras should first be used in neighborhoods with more minorities. The Louisville police chief expects all officers will have cameras by next summer. We sound like a broken record probably, but it was another beautiful day out there. Plenty of sunshine and mild, cool temperatures. But if you have any yard work to do, get it done tonight and maybe a little bit tomorrow because we have changes on the way. Chief Meteorologist Chris Bailey has a first look at that forecast. Chris?
Hi, Sam. The warmer air slowly but surely pushing back into Kentucky now. Those temperatures into the southern part of the state already flirting with the 80-degree mark, while the north is a little cooler. You can see that temperature gradient setting up on your regional thermometer map here. We go from the 50s and 60s into parts of the northern Ohio Valley to those 70s across most of Kentucky, 80-ish into southern parts of the region. 81, as a matter of fact, here into London and Harlan. It's 74 in Lexington, only 69 into northern Kentucky. That air, again, warming up from southwest to northeast. Nothing showing up right now in live first alert defender sprinkle action well to our west. Really not going to impact our weather. But we look at our live sky cams, and all of a sudden now we're starting to cloud things up. Had some of those ice crystal clouds a little earlier in the day, producing a nice little halo around the sun that we talked about at 5 o'clock. Live sky cam over top of Hamburg Pavilion now with a thickening overcast, but no precipitation out there for the most part this evening. Weather headlines as we roll into that weekend. Here comes the muggy air. We're going to steam up your thermometers a little bit as we head toward the upper 70s and low 80s, and I'm tracking the scattered thunderstorm threat into the weekend. And guys, beyond that weekend, I've got another shot of some chilly air showing up in the 7-day forecast. That's coming up in a little under 10 minutes.
Year 2 of UK's hemp research pilot program is underway. Today, researchers from the school's College of Agriculture gathered to plant more hemp for the 2015 project. This year, they hope to learn a lot more from the 30 acres they're planting. New studies will address various uses of the crop.
We have a lot more research undergone here in 2015. We have a large study funded by the Sunstrand Corporation investigating fiber production and processing. We're very excited about that work. We have another study funded by the Canavest Corporation investigating the agronomy of cannabinoid production, which is totally different from fiber, and we're very excited about that too.
In all, 99 pilot programs will research crop production techniques. They say it's a disappointment. 2 high school football programs in southern Kentucky say they were looking forward to brand new turf fields this summer. But now that's not going to happen. And as Phil Pendleton reports, coaches from those 2 schools say getting those new fields is a major safety concern. It's a story that's new at 5:30.
It's about 100 days until the start of the fall high school football season.
There's another one over here.
And Southwestern coach Larry French says his field is in awful shape. And he says has been so bad in recent years
that we had a young man break his leg 2 years ago right in this area.
It isn't safe.
We weren't able to play our JV and freshman games at home a lot. We had to play them on the road in order to protect the grass for the playoffs.
This is the Pulaski County High School football field where the team played leading up to last year's state championship. But if you look over here, you can see there are tire tracks where there was vandalism done. They wanted to make improvements after that vandalism, but they had the promise, or the belief at least, they were going to get a brand new field. But it looks like now it's not going to happen. Coach Hines says the board voted in the winter to approve turf for both high schools, but this week, citing other needs, they decided to change their plans.
Dark cloud blew over this week, and we're just kind of stunned. We're not sure what's next.
Hines and French say it's about much more than football.
PE classes out on the field. You could have projects going on today. We've got ag fair going on down over the hill in a place that you really don't want to be, that could be done in an area like this.
Turf for both schools would cost more than $1.5 million.
Actually, about 1/3 of the cost of the project was going to be covered by private donations.
Pulaski's coach says now they don't have the time or resources to fix damages done months ago whereas the turf would have taken care of that. In Pulaski County, Phil Pendleton, WKYT.
We reached out to the school board and superintendent for a comment, but they have not returned our calls.
Coming up in 5 minutes, The Bottom Line with Bill Bryant. He'll talk about how few Kentucky voters are expected to go to the polls next Tuesday. Our good question on Tuesday's primary: I'm not sure where I vote on Tuesday, and if I'm registered, is there an easy way to find those answers? Yes, the Secretary of State has a website under Kentucky State Board of Elections. You'll find it at elect.ky.gov. There's a link there on the homepage called Where Do I Vote? And you fill in your first and last name and your birth date, and it immediately shows you the location of your precinct, and you can map it as well. You can also pull up a sample ballot. Now, remember to bring, when you go to vote, a photo ID like a license. You'll need that. Again, all this information and much more is on the Kentucky Board of Elections website. Now go out and vote. If you have a good question, go to WKYT.com. Lexington has a new director of Parks and Recreation. Mayor Jim Gray naming Monica Conrad to that position. Conrad has worked for Kentucky Parks since 2004, holding various positions. In a press release, Mayor Gray said today, "We are working to improve parks all over town. Monica has the kind of experience we need to make it happen." She will start work with the city in June pending council approval.